Hello, guys. Welcome to this new edition of Mind Podcast. This is Aadit Kapadia, and together with me, I have the two returning champions of our Mind Podcast, hosts of their own podcast, India Rising, columnists, and people who track national affairs, politics, geopolitics very closely. Our good friends Kishor, Narayan, and Mohal Joshi. And if you guys have been under a rock, you probably don't know who they are. But if you are our loyal watchers, viewers, you absolutely know who are. So, welcome to Mind Podcast, Kishore and Mohal.
Thank you, Adit. Good to be back.
Yeah, thanks, Adit. Good to be back. Same here.
So, this is a very unique podcast that we are going to do. It's going to be a end of the year podcast where there is not going to be just one topic, but we're going to talk about as many issues as you can in the 45-minute to 1 hour period, from politics to the economy to geopolitical issues to sports, and try and mix as much as we can. Basically, this is going to be this big pav bhaji, and we hope to end with the recommendations, which I call it the butter on top. So that's what we hope to leave you with. Please, write to us, comment to us, ki how do you like this, what did you want to include when we're done with the episode, because obviously we have our own list that we are going by, but it'd be interesting to see what our listeners and viewers think, because we want to make this an exercise which we do maybe every 6 months or maybe every year or something, and do like a wrap up of what is happening in the world. So with that, I first give the floor to Kishore and then to Mohal. Kishore, what is the one issue? So what I'll start with, guys, is we'll start with asking Mohal and Kishore their one issue that they thought was critical, and then we'll end telling them that. In between, I'll bring the issues that I thought were critical. So Kishore, what was this one issue that you think dominated the world? And you're not allowed to say COVID, because we started with moving on from COVID, it seemed, and now we're back to having discussions on COVID because we're those saal guy. I mean, just this year.
So just this year, I think the Ukraine war, and
Mhm.
what I'm more interested in is what started out to be apparently a 3 day operation, a special operation, is now more than 300 days long, and the ramifications not only within the Russo sphere but also within the Western world as well. How Germany, France, US, of course, how they all struggled initially to rally around Ukraine, how they struggled to find a common ground, and also within the Russo sphere, where countries like, say, Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan, all of them again failed to rally around Russia, and how each bloc seemed to be crumbling. But the Western world somehow they kind of have picked up in terms of providing the required ammunition, required financial help. But I think that was very fascinating for me to begin with, and the entire year was
Hmm.
nothing less than a charade, so to speak. Each country trying to put up their best show in terms of telling the world that, hey, we are here to be at the right place at the right time. Turkey, for example, they wanted to showcase themselves as that kind of a champion of the middle world. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think that was my key takeaway, trying to figure out
Absolutely.
how where every country is positioned.
What about you, Mohal? What did you think dominated the world issues?
I mean, I think Kishore pretty much covered the most important, like which was the Ukraine war.
Hmm.
I think coming
Hmm.
closer to home, the issue is like now we are starting to see these standoffs with China on the border,
Hmm.
even in like a winter months, which is kind of surprising. I mean, and me and Kishore in our latest episode on India Rising podcast, we did cover it in detail, the standoff and the larger implications for it. I mean, earlier we used to have the standoffs in the summer months, but now we are starting to have them in the winter months. So it is kind of concerning that China is, I mean, they are not going to like they're not looking for a settlement in any way, shape or form. They just want to needle us at the border because they see India as a rising power, and the infrastructure asymmetry at the border, which has been gradually reducing. I mean, the credit to the government that they have
Hmm.
been in New Delhi, that they have been building up a lot of infrastructure to improve the last mile connectivity with especially like remote posts in like Arunachal and also in Ladakh. So this is kind of concerning. I mean, as we had said like few years ago, I mean, it's not few years, a couple of years ago when the Galwan clash happened, that I think we are on an unavoidable military clash sometime in the future. It might not be like as full fledged as the 1962 war, but we are looking at least a Nathula type of clash maybe in the
Hmm.
next few years, which would be unavoidable. I mean, because like we are having more patrolling of the border, so there'll be more friction points. For now, people haven't used weapons like guns and stuff by using like, I mean, heavy clubs, which is also not desirable. But eventually, like I think maybe it's not like China would precipitate a crisis, but like if some local commander, as I said before, would lose his nerve, and if there is firing, then there would be, and with the nationalism fervor on both sides, it will be very hard to de-escalate from such a situation,
So,
and we end
so
up with a Nathula clash.
so what to sum this up, right, where we are still in the post expansionist world order, right, where parts of the world are still talking about, I'm not saying every part is doing it, but especially we do see from, Russia, China, that they have not given up there. Now, I'm not saying that what is legitimate, what is illegitimate, and things like that. You can have a separate debate on what concludes with Taiwan, because I would also add what happens in Taiwan, right? Like China was saying, "Hum ye karenge, pehle gun marenge, gun nahi mare, watan dikhayenge," all that kind of stuff. Um, but then you have Taiwan, you have Ukraine, you have them doing what they are in Arunachal, thinking, and strangely enough, when you look at these three, Kashmir has been relatively peaceful compared to these three, right?
Right.
So, and of course, Kashmir is a different issue as well as these three. It's between India and Pakistan. It's not here, it's between Russia and the country that this is almost like a Tibet with Ukraine, or parts of Ukraine. Taiwan is almost like a quasi Tibet sort of situation. So how the world reacts, we'll have to see. But it's interesting that, the more the things change, the more they stay the same, right? You still see some countries still being very silent. There's still strategic silences, there is strategic neutrality. So I don't know how it'll go, but in conclusion, like, before we move on to politics, for the geopolitical world order, how would you say, Kishore, first, what is the way forward in 2023, and what do you expect to change?
Okay, I'll pull in a chess analogy right here.
Mhm.
We haven't even entered the mid game, so to speak, and I say that because post World War II, we have had an extremely peaceful period in the world. I mean, much longer than any other duration in human history. And what that has done is not solving any issues, but rather all the open-ended issues had been brushed under the carpet. Kashmir, for example, Taiwan, Korea, then of course Ukraine. So all these issues remain unsolved, and every country like Russia or China, they are biding their time. They want to pick up all these issues at the time and date of their choosing. So I think what we are seeing now is every country trying to maximize their position, trying to be in an advantageous position, so that when they feel that it is the right time to act on something that they really want, they would want to be all powerful and ready to pick up the cudgel.
Fascinating. What about you, Mohal? What do you think?
Yeah, I think like see, we had the great power rivalry during the Cold War. I mean, Russia did make its moves. I mean, they crushed the Hungarian Revolution, and there were like other also series of events where they did take action. But then, post the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union, we had a moment of unipolar power, like superpower. So like other nations didn't do anything much, but like once Russia regained a strength and as China was growing in a strength, they are making the moves in the spheres that they deem is like essential for their great power status. And also coming to Kashmir, I mean, since you mentioned, I mean, since they think it just reflects more on the Pakistan economic situation, that it's in dire straits right now, and that's why they're not. I mean, they also learned the lesson from Balakot and the surgical. I'm not saying that um, Pakistan is not going to make any mischief at the LOC. They're definitely going to not like stop terrorism. but it just shows us the relative power of Pakistan at the moment, that they are unwilling to precipitate a crisis. I mean, they have so many internal crises. They don't know who's the next prime minister, when are the next election. I mean, the new army chief just got sworn in, so and then they had like the biblical floods just a few months ago. So like it's kind of a lot of flux in Pakistan right now.
Fascinating. I didn't know I was on mute. I was talking and I was unmuted myself while you were talking. Yes, and Imran Khan is another issue altogether, right? Imran Khan is doing so. A word about our ex-Pakistani Kaptan Saab and his conspiracy theories. Whoever wants to go first, from
I
Kishore onwards.
I let Kishore go first.
Yeah, I think Imran kind of binding himself in knot right now, claiming too many things and not substantiating any of them. I mean, even when he was shot in the leg, he did not go to the nearby hospital, but rather traveled 200 kilometers to his own cancer hospital. Now, who in his sane mind would do that when he is shot in his leg, right? And that's the kind of bizarre bizarreness that you see from Pakistan right now, and the level of bizarreness only keeps going higher and higher.
The theory Adit alleged was that, yeah, he was under the influence of narcotics, so he didn't want to submit a blood test to the nearest hospital.
I mean,
That is the most insane thing ever.
even if he was under the influence of narcotics, I mean, being shot, still okay. I mean, right? You can still go to the hospital telling, "Hey, I was shot." It's not like I was driving a car under the influence of something. I banged into something. It's not the same. But okay, it's his choice. He is anyway a politically vulnerable person out there, and yeah, that only adds to the uh, mystery of political situation right there in Pakistan now.
No, and it's eerie. It's eerie, totally eerie, because right now Ramiz Raja has been changed. We'll talk about cricket. I guarantee you, Ramiz Raja. This is the strangest thing where Pakistani PCB chairmen are appointed political appointees. But we'll talk about that in a second. Before we talk about cricket, let's talk about politics, the second biggest thing in India. So,
And
Mohal,
yeah,
sorry, Kishore, go ahead.
just one thing I want to add before we switch topics. With respect to Pakistan, you know that Imran Khan on one side and the ruling establishment under Shahbaz Sharif on the other side, they were kind of under the radar trying to find some common ground as to when to go for elections and under whose government, so on and so forth, right? Now, imagine if you want to take a guess, who was the person who was taking the message from one side to the other? Who was the messenger? Do you want to take a guess, Adit?
No, I'm scared to even hedge a guest here.
Um, okay, let me spare you the question. Okay, so it was actually the president of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. It was President Alvi who was actually doing this for the politicians. So you can imagine
Goodness.
what kind of a state Pakistan is in. And Alvi was not directly meeting Imran Khan. He was actually meeting two messengers of Imran Khan. So that's how Imran Khan thinks he is more powerful than anybody else in that nation right now.
I mean,
Wow.
Imran Khan has the like a cold war with the establishment of the deep state. I mean, recently there was this sort of sex call tape like leaked of Imran Khan. I mean, just deep state is just getting back at him. I mean, see, I mean, in 2018, because like they didn't like the Sharifs, they deposed Sharif like through the corruption charges, and like their favorite was Imran Khan of the deep state. Now they got him through, but now the Imran has since developed a cult like status. I mean, he hasn't done much for the economy, as you can see from the economic figures and the woes, I mean, which have exacerbated post COVID. But now they're stuck in a situation that they raise this monster. I mean, what is with Pakistan with raising monsters? Like they can't control themselves. So like there is Imran Khan profile so high, and now he's gotten a legend status. I don't know if he will able to be win the next election, because even with all the army backing, he was not able to get a clear majority on its own. But I mean, the next elections are 8 months away. Imran wants elections now versus later. But I think till the army chief settles in, like for 6 months, probably it might anyways be time for elections. But again, like the army is kind of stuck, because usually you used to depose somebody and put in their favorite. But now, with the Sharifs and the Bhuttos being so out of favor with the common man, because they've been ruling Pakistan for so long, and at least like the middle class is like enamored with Imran Khan, so they're kind of stuck. They're stuck with like a, what do you call, lack of good options. So that's why they're taking this neutral stance for now.
Lack of good options is a very generous way to put it, my friend. I mean, it's more than lack of good options. It is abundance of extremist options, right? An extremist, it's not just jihadi extremists. You have extremists when you have the military. You have the. It's a strange sort of situation that Pakistan is in.
But I mean, they have this pretty cold war going on, right? Like on one hand, like they leak this Imran tapes, and then some close to Imran, they leak that General Bajwa had like thousands of crores of assets, and his daughter-in-law had like overnight or in few years gained a lot of assets. So it's like this cold war going, where everybody's just trying to slander the other side with leaks. But like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be fascinating in the next 8 months. I think, Kishore, they have elections in August, right, of next year.
August. Yep, yep.
The last time I remember when they had elections, I think everyone was congratulating for the first 5 year term completed or something like that. It was, I remember, it was rather strange, right? So, anyways, moving from Pakistan to politics, hardcore politics now. Who Mohal, I'll go with you first, since you've done this research on Gujarat elections and written a fabulous piece. Why don't you start us off with that, and then Kishore, you can talk about UP. So we'll go from what happened in December to February. अगर ascending में गए, descending में वापस आएंगे.
Yeah, so I mean, this was like a mind-boggling election if you think about all the numbers. I mean, everybody knew that that like BJP is going to win. The win that BJP, like with winning 156 seats, beating Madhasi Solanki, I think not many had forecasted that that would be even possible. And I mean, app, as I had mentioned on this.
Certainly, I don't know any Gujarati if they did it in a serious way. I mean, they may have jokingly said it, but
Yeah.
no one said it seriously. Sorry, I didn't just want to add
No,
that.
no, yeah, that's, I mean, I remember like we had this podcast last year, and like even maybe early this, and I did mention that I think AAP will gain 10% of the vote share. I mean, a lot of people were like kind of saying like, oh, they won't gain. I said, no, no, no. I was pretty sure, because the 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 Panchayat election, not the Panchayat election. What were the elections last year? Sorry, the local
Local
body
You
body.
had the
election.
city, the
Yeah,
local body. No, no,
yeah,
there
yeah,
were panchayats, some panchayats also, but you have the AMC, the Surat
yeah.
Municipal
So
Corporation, and all that.
yeah, the local body elections, I mean, the app gained like almost like 10, 15, 20%. I think that was a harbinger of times. Like, and I mean, I had like vehement disagreements with couple of BJP supporters, and I said, no, no, no. I mean, I was willing to bet like a friendly lunch and say that, like, yeah, I mean, app will gain 10%, but they won't gain many seats, as you saw. And I think all those 5 seats that they won, the app, I think they were all like local strongmen, and like already one of them is reported to have been like defecting. I mean, Congress has been decimated. I mean, they had a bizarre campaign, to say the least. I mean, look at it, like, I mean, they didn't even provide enough money or assets to their candidates. I mean, I think uh Jignesh Mewani was crowdsourcing his campaigns, which was like kind of crazy, right? I mean, when you have somebody
Yeah, yeah.
crowdsourcing your
With
campaign.
stalwarts like Swara Bhaskar campaigning, and I don't know who for him.
No, but I mean, the Congress high, I mean, see, last time, at least like Rahul Gandhi, like, for all the criticism he gets of not being consistent, he did come to Gujarat and campaign for a long time, and it put BJP on its back foot for quite a bit. Uh, but this time they were like largely absent. They were on this Bharat Jodo Yatra, which not didn't even come to Gujarat, which makes no sense. I mean, even like the political commentators on TV after the election were saying that if you are not serious about, like, I mean, are you running an NGO or a political party? Because I mean, what's the point of a Bharat Jodo Yatra if it doesn't have political ramifications? I mean, and on the other side, you have this BJP in a constant mode, whether it's the MCD elections in New Delhi or the state elections in Gujarat. I mean, they are like pretty much campaigning with full gusto. I mean, so like it's just like a bizarre campaign. I mean, they're just like self-destructing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I mean, now that depends on how AAP does. I mean, can they in like in 5 years, can they be the main opposition party? But they have to work hard to gain the trust of the Congress. I mean, app can be a natural opposition in Gujarat long term, but I mean, only time will tell whether they are able to sustain the momentum. I mean, look at like Congress was completely wiped out. Even the cities also, they used to get 15-20%. I mean, imagine like in I think 14, 15 seats, like they didn't they I mean, there was no all the second place or second to 10th place people like lost the deposits. I mean, imagine like Ellis Bridge, the constituency, or Gatlodia, like the BJP guy got 80% of the vote, which is like insane, right? I mean, if you think of it, like, I mean, and then there are like some constituencies with 70% winning margin. I mean, those are like, I mean, people don't even get 70%, let alone win by 70% margin. So there was like some really bizarre like results where insane amount of vote share. I mean, mind you, the overall voting percentage did go down in the election, so that means that the BJP voter came out, but the opposition voter stayed home largely.
Well, there is another theory also, Mohal, right? It's not just the BJP voters stayed out, right? There is another, I'm sorry, opposition voters stayed out. BJP's vote share went from 49% to 52%, right? Or close to 52.
After 27 years of anti-incumbency.
Yeah. So my point is that there is a potential theory that some of the Congress vote went to BJP also,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or
true.
Congress vote stayed home in such big numbers that the natural addition, because आपका population तो बढ़ता है 5 साल में, that additional zing that you get, the newer generation vote, that went to BJP. But the older Congress generation stayed home because they didn't want to seem to be voting for Aam Aadmi Party. See, I'll tell you, Gujarat is one of the few non-activist state of India, right, where activists have historically not worked, right? Strangely, Maharashtra also is similar to that, jahan activists hai, but they have not worked politically, right? And as a
And Rahul
constitution,
Gandhi, he did like couple of rallies and he invited Medha Patkar in there, right?
I mean, wow, that is
Why?
the
I
worst
mean,
possible.
that is the, if you are like Gujarat Congress chief, that's the one thing you do. You never associate yourself with Medha Patkar. Even Congress leaders privately like say that they want nothing to do with her. And like, if you are campaigning in the state, you come for one or two rallies, and why do you be seen with her? That is like the worst thing you could possibly do and sabotage your campaign. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
Aadit.
yeah, absolutely. No, no. So what I was saying was that is Megha Patkar is as toxic as for Gujaratis as you can imagine. And by the way, I'm going to ask Kishore also. Our interesting friend from Maharashtra, Sanjay Raut, has said something about like China came into India, we will come and take Belgaum away or something like that. So I'm like, इसमें भाई चाइना कौन है, इंडिया कौन है, महाराष्ट्र कौन है, कर्नाटका कौन है, और संजय राउत कौन है? Is he a Chinese? He's a Chinese army chief. I don't understand, but we'll go to that later. Yeah, I think Gujarat elections has rewritten the rules of politics for a lot of people. For the simple matter, it seems like when there is no alternative, people prefer the tried and tested alternative rather than the new kid on the block. And I think this was Congress's election to lose. If this was and I don't mean that if the Congress and AAP's vote share would have added, like Mohal has written, and we've all said, they would probably not cross 60 seats, right? Congress plus Aam Aadmi Party. But the
55.
issue, 50, no, but I'm just being generous here, like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
being
yeah,
60
yeah,
seats,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They would not cross it. But the question is, if the Congress had a legitimate face to fight the BJP in Gujarat, you don't know what effect that caused. So last time Paresh Dhanani was given a free rein, and he ensured that some in Saurashtra there were some strategic understandings that were made, and that's why Congress did so well, right? But when you have a trifecta, मतलब कुछ भी हो सकता है. Perception vote, 5 to 10% is a perception vote in Indian elections. और वो कहाँ जाता है, that usually defines the election, right? So that is one part of it. So coming to from there to what happened in that. So आम आदमी पार्टी के जो 5 लोग भी जीते, I think the 13% vote share was the curiosity factor, that people were actually voting. But the 5 people that won because they were individual leaders in their own right. right? So Kishore, I want to throw this to you because you are the one non-Gujarati on the panel. So I want to know, as someone who's not, because even if we try to be non-partisan, we are emotionally invested because it's our state, right? It has a direct impact on what happens. Mohal and I land in Ahmedabad the first thing whenever we go to India, right? In fact, this time we met in Ahmedabad also. Last time we were there. What is your take as someone who is not emotionally involved but is just looking at it from a strategic perspective, and what does it mean nationally? And then I would like for you to go from there to UP, and what does this mean?
Yeah, I think it would be a brilliant segue also. I think it was a thumbs up for pro incumbency, especially after having ruled the state for more than 25, 27. I think is the actual number of years. So I think that was a huge thumbs up by the electorate for the ruling party. And uh, the opposition's vote was what was always under question. And obviously, with Congress losing votes and Aam Aadmi Party gaining a portion of it, it was kind of well known that the margins of victory would be much higher this time than any other time earlier. So I think that was kind of understandable. Now, what was more fascinating was the vote for pro incumbency, and especially after all these years, immediate parallels were drawn between Gujarat now and West Bengal from 1977 onwards, all the way till early 2000s, when Buddhadev Bhattacharya was the last communist chief minister there. But then everybody who wrote about it, everybody who pointed out, uh, conceded that the left continued to win simply because of polling booth manipulation, voter manipulation, and law and order being under the state's control completely. So I think everybody considered that this reign of BJP in Gujarat is far bigger than even left's reign in West Bengal. That's point number one. Point number two is even apparently neutral observers like Shekhar Gupta himself ran a 30-minute episode telling that Modi had actually changed the narrative to infrastructure building to rather than giving out freebies. So I think the Revdi culture, that term became popular, especially during the run up to the Gujarat polls. So I think everybody kind of understood that simple freebies versus actually building up infrastructure or strengthening a state, and the population would obviously pick up the latter option.
No, and one thing I'll tell you, Gujarat mein, there is one state where strong leaders do matter, right? You cannot be saying that collective leadership में election जीतेंगे.
Hmm.
वो बीजेपी ने भी हारा है election. See it.
Hmm.
So the last time, okay, let's look at the history of Gujarat, right? From the 1980s, you have Madhav Singh Solanki, right? And then before Madhav Singh Solanki, you had this strange sort of musical chairs where you have Prabodh Rawals of the world, Amar Singh Chaudhary, all these people from Congress, jumping up and down. एक साल इसको बनाया CM, 2 साल इसको बनाया CM. Because what people don't understand is Gujaratis are not a monolith, right? The caste consciousness is there. It is maybe not, it's not as dominantly discussed as it is for other states, but it is. And I mean, we'll come to Karnataka, you will also, which is the same thing. It is complicated state when it comes to caste, and Gujarat and Karnataka are very easy to compare because they are relatively similar states in size, like up and down, like 26 Lok Sabha to 28, 182 Vidhan Sabha to 200. So it's very sorry, not 200, 228.
224,
224,
yeah.
I'm sorry, 224. And that too, I think that 182 number should actually go up, but because based on the population. But regardless of that, so you had to have balancing act done by the Congress, and then they started this whole ridiculous thing of Kham, which is Kshatriya, Harijan, Adivasi, Muslim. And what a lot of people forget to mention is that there was a counter polarization. That is why the Patels permanently went towards the BJP and other castes. But this time, BJP has actually broken that Kshatriya back. of Congress. This time they've made forays into the Thakur vote. They've also got some vote in, Saurashtra, amongst the Jadejas and stuff. So historically, certain communities that have not voted for the BJP, they have. Now, why have they voted for the BJP? There are two things. They could be either worried that about a rising Aam Aadmi party, and they don't want, because the more you talk to Gujarat, they're like, in Gujarati they would say BJP and a Congress apdi che. There are parties. Aam Aadmi party is a Delhi implant, so we'll not. So there is also that sub-regionalism at stake. That tomorrow, and Kishore, I would like to put this to you, right? There is a Karnataka election, and suddenly Shiromani Akali Dal comes and starts fighting a seat. What do you think is going to happen? Even core BJP voter might actually vote for a JDS guy, saying that at least
Yes.
because the whole thing is he reports to a party leader in Karnataka.
Exactly. Yeah. You are ours, right? I would vote for you rather than somebody who is helicoptered just for the
Yeah.
sake of the
अरे
election.
यार, Aam Aadmi Party did. I understand they have leaders from. They did a rally with Harbhajan Singh and Bhagwant Maan in Surat. I'm like, ये तो अलग तो क्या कर रहे हो यार? Bhagwant Maan और Harbhajan Singh के साथ rally कौन
But,
करता है सूरत
but that
में?
shows the lack of local leadership. If they develop a local leader in the next 5 years, they could do more
No, but
connect with
here's the
the.
problem, na Mohal. They don't need to fight 182 seats for that. They could have fought on 40 seats, focused on those 40 seats, gotten 10, 12 seats out of that, and then gone for 182. ये problem क्या है? This is the Twitter social media impact ना, कि मेरे 10,000 retweet है तो मैं, that means 10,000 people will actually vote for me.
But
No, buddy,
see,
that doesn't mean that.
but see, they see the strategic opportunity because see wherever the Congress leadership is weak, they're making inroads. So see, you could have this dichotomy where in Gujarat they made, let's say, a foray. In Punjab they made a foray, but in like Goa maybe very tiny one. But let's say in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh they abandoned the campaign and they didn't do anything, right? So I think it's like wherever Congress local leadership is weak, they will make foray. So they see an opportunity because they cannot just go to every state. Now, if let's say the Congress in Karnataka, for example, is strong, I would doubt that they would even gain like 5% of the vote in Karnataka. So wherever the Congress leadership, I think they are just trying to see. ऐसे नहीं, वो काशीराम का famous dialogue था, पहले election हारने के लिए, दूसरा what was it? I forget the
पहला इलेक्शन हारने के लिए,
के लिए
दूसरा हराने के,
लड़ने
दूसरा
के लिए,
हराने के, नहीं 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 नहीं, दूसरा हराने के लिए और तीसरा जीतने के लिए.
जीतने के लिए.
So,
So I'm not
so
saying AAP is going to be the in 3 elections is going to win, but I think they are just trying to sense wherever Congress is weak to replace as the primary opposition for the long term, because someday in the future BJP is going to come down, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that it's going to be there forever. So they are just trying to make
नहीं, but
inroad where Congress is weak, but where it's not, they are not there. They could be like
my
zero, like
friend,
in Karnataka.
I have said this from the rooftops now that Arvind Kejriwal is your city's urban / upper caste Mayawati, right? Like what Mayawati was to Dalit votes, that is the position Arvind Kejriwal wants for a section of the upper caste votes and a section of the urban votes. That is why BJP got a little nervous, because typically BJP usually gets about a very high chunk, especially in Gujarat. And quite frankly, this whole 150 plus results, if it only surprised one more entity more than the pollsters, that is the Gujarat unit of the BJP, because even they didn't anticipate this result.
But
You
I
talk
would,
to them in private, they're like, "Arey yaar, kamal ho gaya yaar, we didn't expect 150
but see
plus."
that classification or characterization I would disagree with, because I think like Kejriwal's vote bank is more with this Revdi culture is more the lower classes. So it's more the economic
No,
lower
I'm not saying
strata.
no. But I'm not saying that is his vote bank. I was like, that is what he wants to be. I'm not saying that is who he gets his votes from. What he's trying to is, because who the economic lower strata is not looking at day-to-day news. Yes, you can get to them on WhatsApp. You have them, but quite frankly, jo dihadi ke mazdoor hai, they don't have the time or resources to go and sit in 8 to 10 debates, right? And what Aam Aadmi Party is doing, with is trying to change the narrative of those debates, right? So I don't want to spend too much time just on Gujarat. We have to move to UP, because we have to talk about how do you think Yogi Adityanath's triumph is the second. I mean, Kishore, Mohal, whoever goes first, the other one go after, right after. So
Okay, I'll go first. I think
yeah.
the context again is very important. 2017, when BJP won a handsome victory, it happened on the back of absolute shambles of law and order, and people were fed up of the SP Gunda culture, and that was why they decided to vote for anybody other than Samajwadi Party, and eventually BJP was the victor there. And surprise, surprise, BJP picked Yogi Adityanath. He became the chief minister, and then we all know what happened in the 5 year term there. He tightened law and order. He ensured that the Gundas were behind bars. He gave a much needed impetus to infrastructure building and also ensured that a lot more investment comes to UP than ever before. So I think people remembered the SP rule or the misrule that was still fresh in their minds, and also they saw a lot of promise in the way law and order was being tackled, a lot of investments happening. So they thought that continuity will also help for their state, especially in terms of Rosgar and other mundane issues. So I think that was the context. But more importantly, the actual question that was on everybody's mind was, did Yogi Adityanath do the right thing by being very tough on law and order? And people gave him a thumbs up. Although the number of seats came down from 303 to say around 250, 255, but I think the vote percentage went up marginally by around 39 point something to around 41, 42. And I think that was a vindication of Yogi Adityanath as an administrator, one, also as somebody who could tighten up law and order and keep the Gundas at bay. So I think that had a lot of impact, and that also ensured that UP, for its size and importance in Indian politics, uh, happened to get some kind of a administrative continuity. So you now have one party ruling the state for 10 years, and hopefully it will do wonders for their state.
But I'll tell you one thing. Here is why a complication about UP, right? Because unfortunately or fortunately क्या होता है कि no UP chief minister, if especially if they're from a national party, is allowed to govern just that. There are already discussions happening कि योगी को PM कब बनाना है, and he is the face for after BJP. My question is, when Narendra Modi became the Gujarat CM in 2001, you were not having these discussions in 2006. 2007 is when 2007 भी नहीं, 2009 is when Mr.
Nine.
Now, I, as a Gujarati, looking at it, I was like, he will go to the national politics. There was no doubt about it. The way, because his thinking was, his perspective was, and stuff. But that was a different issue, right? The people were not projecting him till 2009. My thing is, Yogi now has won one elections. Don't you think he has to win another election
Oh,
before
absolutely.
we even have that discussion if he's going to replace someone as the prime minister or something? And this is not to say that, because yes, UP is a big state. Yes, he can carry it, but I think there is still one more election to go before that happens.
And that is why I only spoke about administrative continuity within Uttar Pradesh for 10 years, and I did not mention anything about him being catapulted to
No,
New
I know.
Delhi.
This is
Yeah,
the host in me ना, वो अंदर से कीड़ा होता है ना, आपको क्या लगता है किशोर जी क्या होगा, type of thing. So
right, right. So absolutely. So Yogi will have to continue proving his mettle for a few more years,
yeah.
and I think even before anything of that nature happens, you will have some inner coterie of Delhi BJP leaders themselves who might actually want that not to happen. So just like how Modi had to face all those hurdles in 2012, 2013, 2014, I think Yogi Adityanath will also have to overcome all those obstacles.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Interesting. What do you think, Mohal? Now you haven't spoken on UP. What is your take?
I think like in UP, we have the sort of the West Bengal kind of situation when the ruling party goes over 40-45, unless everybody else is combined together to have a unified opposition, it's going to be very hard to defeat the BJP. So to like what Echo Kishore said, I think the law and order has been because they have been under terrible law and order situation for so many years that it's the one of the main pole planks. I mean, but if more development investment, I think comes up and like if UP can come out from the Bimaru status, then I think that will do wonders for the BJP and Yogi Adityanath going forward.
I mean, every BJP chief minister around the country now mimicking Yogi Adityanath's style of law and order. I mean,
Hmm.
you now famously
No,
call
but okay. Now I have to ask that question: is that because there is a political impact on it, or is that because there is a social media impact and it gives you straight national prominence? Because
not only
unfortunately,
not only
that's what
that,
we the time we are living in.
it also gives the electorate that instant gratification.
Hmm.
If you run a few bulldozers,
Hmm.
the electorate also give you that instant gratification. So I
Hmm.
think that is what the leaders are now looking at. They're not looking at the long term ramification of that kind of instant justice delivery. I think obviously there are disadvantages to that, but every BJP CM does not mind picking it up right now.
Hmm. It's interesting.
I mean,
Interesting.
you have Shivraj Singh of Madhya Pradesh, who is
Hmm.
now being called the bulldozer Baba, right? Madhya Pradesh goes to polls in October, September, October,
Yeah.
and he is now being called the bulldozer Baba.
But
So
What is
see,
it?
all states don't have such a large law and order problem, so it will not going to give the political dividend everywhere. Like, yeah, if you have very bad situation like UP, yeah, so it is kind of tricky. It might could even backfire in certain states because it depends on the issue, whether it's a big issue in the state or not. I mean, in Gujarat, I don't think a bulldozer would give the same political dividend, right? So it varies from state to state, I would say.
No, and in Gujarat, the whole bulldozer thing was actually done way before. This is where it started. If you talk to, I've talked to a lot of civic authorities, who were in the AMC, and what Mr. Modi did when he was the CM,
Yeah,
and a
yeah,
lot of encroachment was taken out, but
yeah.
he didn't make a big deal out of it,
Yeah,
as
I
was made
mean,
now.
and then the thing was that it wasn't like just like people of one community or caste like who were targeted. Like anybody and everybody was targeted. That I think that was the credit of Mr. Modi, that he didn't like just target like one section of
नहीं
the
तभी no no
community.
no 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 the left had made an issue about this at that too, right? But it also depends. See what I'm saying, there was no social media, right? That is the difference.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The left has made the similar issue. I clearly remember ki, oh, this there is this thing and that thing, and there is this historical significance in that, and why are you broadening the streets, and it kills the romanticization of the culture. So in India is the one place where all these people, leftist intellectuals who talk about
All
human
the
development
all the
index,
ghettos are romanticized, right?
the ghettos are romanticized and they never do their events. I would like to see Arundhati Roy for once do her event in a ghetto and spend a week there and actually talk to the people rather than doing it in five-star hotels and then talking about the poor and the destitute of India from the five-star hotels, where she does, in a very soft baritone voice. So, because this is what Miss Roy does. So, anyways, moving on to the more serious issues of this world than Arundhati Roy, because she had a great year again, where she ranted more than she did last year. Like I love being Arundhati Roy. You go to events where you're not challenged. You have absolutely softball questions given by speakers. You make the most insane statements without any proof whatsoever, and then you say that I'm being targeted, or that people are questioning me. So it's amazing. I think even Ram Guha is questioned more than Arundhati Roy. Like एक debate में तो I want to say Arundhati Roy come in one debate with anyone,
I
but
think she's like the Yogendra Yadav of psephology and
नहीं यार,
politics,
no no
because
no no no.
कुछ भी बोल दे, nobody challenges, so.
No, no, but okay, Yogendra. I hate to be sounding defending Yogendra Yadav. At least he comes himself on political debates or gets into one-on-one debates where he's called out. Arundhati doesn't even go into that. She believes that she's like Amartya Sen, like annual India trip पे आके बकवास करके चले जाते हैं. But खैर, that is what it is. Moving from there to, and we'll wrap up with the Karnataka discussion because it's for the future, right? So that will be in 2023. So moving from politics to sport, what a fascinating year for sport, right?
And sorry to interrupt you again. And we spoke about politics for all this while, and we still did not talk about Bharat Jodo Yatra. So that
That's
kind of underlines how insignificant it was
अरे
In that match
ऐसे
to
मत बोलो
perfection.
यार. Rahul Gandhi spent so much time in Karnataka hoping that he could credit himself for the Congress doing a little better next year,
Wrong
as a lot
timing.
of pollsters are saying, right? In Bharat Jodo Yatra, but even people in Karnataka didn't care about him except for DK Shivkumar's loyalists.
Wrong timing. Yeah, I mean, he spent more time in Kerala, in Karnataka, and all that when he was actually needed in other states. And where was he? Where was he trying to do Bharat Jodo? In states where he is already relatively strong, rather
Hmm.
than picking up the gauntlet in states like UP, MP, where he is the challenger to BJP. So I think, yeah, strategy wise he got it wrong. Timing wise he got it wrong by about 12, 13 years. So I think he should have done this Bharat Jodo Yatra sometime in 2008, 2009 for him to have been taken seriously, not in 2021, 2022.
Now,
But
now
Kishore,
the
before May 2014, Bharat was unified. Like now, it has been broken post May 2014, right? So there's nothing to Jodo
नहीं नहीं,
then.
now the people of India are saying, भाई आप भारत को अपने हाल पे छोड़ो यात्रा. Bharat is very resilient. आप दिल्ली में जाओ, आपके annual trips करो. See, the problem with Rahul Gandhi is Ashok Malik said this a very long time ago, that the Congress party want Rahul to be Rajiv Gandhi, but he himself wants to be Arvind Kejriwal or Justin Trudeau, right? And going with that, I don't know what the hell is that honeybees on his face look, that if he's like मैंने मतलब I don't know what does unkempt beard tells you कि बस मैंने shave नहीं किया, like I mean I don't understand, right? And having Jairam Ramesh and all that, like advising you, I don't even know what is their motive in doing all this.
Yeah, they have messed up their strategy, they have messed up their tactics. Everything
Hmm.
is going downhill for their party now.
And it is amazing to think that they started in summer or like monsoon or something. I don't know when they started, in October. When did they start the yatra? I forget. Like 100 days ho gaye, right? So they must have
Yeah.
started in September, right? And typically people go from north to south because the weather goes from hospitable to pleasant there in the south. Now he's gone from hot weather to completely challenging weather in Kashmir. So I mean, I good if he's going there, but what is he going to do in Kashmir? There are no elections to be had. Anyone who says that, oh, this is beyond elections, is absolute saying nonsense. Agar ye hai,
Absolutely. Yeah.
to Congress ka symbol nikal do. You are a representative of political party, you are an elected member of parliament, everything is political. If you say that, oh, I want to make it above politics, then that's just ridiculous. Then don't fight elections, खड़े हो जाओ मेधा पाटकर के साथ full
I mean,
time.
even TV anchors were saying then you are an NGO if you think that there is no
No,
political
no, and
significance of it.
let's think about the stalwarts that walked with him: Medha Patkar, Amol Palekar, Kunal Kamra. I mean, this is the kind of things, like not one serious, like, okay, so who was it that Sharad Pawar's daughter joined and this and that, right? My
We had
question is,
Raghuram Rajan as well.
हाँ हाँ
We went.
नहीं, रघुराम राजन तो क्या है कि मॉमीज अपॉइंटी इज जॉइनिंग द सन्स लेटेस्ट हॉबी,
Hmm.
राइट?
Hmm.
सो यू हैव टू से दैट मॉमी जी ने उनका उतना ख्याल रखा बिफोर एंड आफ्टर हिज अपॉइंटमेंट, तो बेटी जी की हॉबी में ज्वाइन तो करना पड़ेगा ना सबको. सो दैट इज एसेंशियली व्हाट इट इज, राइट? एंड ही डिडंट गो टू हिमाचल where the elections were there, where the Congress won. Priyanka Gandhi was credited for doing 5 rallies there or something, where most Himachalis will tell you they won in spite of Priyanka Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi. गुजरात में तो राहुल गांधी did one rally, एंड उसमें तो मतलब सफाचट हो गया जहां उसने रैली की वहां पे. सो इट्स जस्ट I don't know what he wants or what is the situation of the Congress, but moving on from that to a more interesting year for sports. You had the India doing very well to a point in the World Cup, and then getting knocked out in semi-finals again in the T20 World Cup. You had Argentina, Messi win a fabulous World Cup. I say Messi because after they've lost to Saudi Arabia, it was almost a fairy tale run that he was playing like a man possessed. Ki ab, ab to bas ho gaya. And then you had England going very great guns under Ben Stokes. They called it what is called baseball, playing very
Yeah.
exciting cricket, more exciting cricket that I've ever seen England play. और पहली बार इंग्लैंड को देखने का मन करता है when they're playing fast cricket, right? And then in the IPL, Gujarat Titans winning more trophies than Royal Challengers Bangalore. How does that make you feel, Kishore? In 1 year, we've won more trophies than RCB has in the last
Now
14.
this is Adit trolling. I think all the Karnataka fans are going to come after you, Adit. Now.
That's okay. They know how much I love their state, but they also know that I have to have throw this one jibe in.
I mean, we generally troll ourselves. We don't leave anything for you people. I mean, every time we tell Ihala Cup Namde, which means
Namde,
this time the
yes.
cup will have us. But then at the end of IPL, when we are eliminated, we always change it ourselves to Mundina Hala Cup Namde, which means the next time the
Next
cup
year.
will have us. So
Acha,
we troll ourselves.
before you say that, this year was a big year for Kannada cinema. Also, we'll end with that with the whole Kantara thing. But yeah, keep going. What you were saying? Yeah.
Yeah, so that way, I think the Royal Challengers Bengaluru fan, the loyal base that they have, I think they have kind of come to terms with their team probably not winning the IPL at least in the foreseeable future. But yeah, having said that, a fairy tale run for Gujarat Titans, Hardik Pandya especially, kind of ticking all the boxes. He emerged as that great
No, he's that
all-rounder.
classic example कि अगर बच्चे शैतान बच्चे को मॉनिटर बना दो तो बच्चा एकदम
Hmm.
रिस्पॉन्सिबल हो जाता है. I mean, he's not saying he was shaitan, but he is, he's happy-go-lucky, but he was brilliant as a captain.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Coupled with Ashish Nehra with a pen and paper.
सर नेहरा जी. and Gaurav Kapoor said वो पेपर खाली होगा उसमें कुछ नहीं लिखा होगा. He probably just holds it like this. But that's the thing, right? कि आप all the good coaches, like when have you seen football coaches in the biggest coaches sit with someone on a laptop and something? They are yelling in the game up and down. They are doing that because most coaches have everything that they want in their head and they want to apply that strategy.
Yeah, I think all decisions should be made even before they get onto the pitch.
Yeah.
And once they get there, it's all about implementing their plans. How many other plans they have? Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. But I think, yeah, Nehra and
And I'm
Hardik
gonna
Pandya
I'm gonna
nailed
say a
it.
very controversial thing here, Kishore. Last time I think Harsha Bhogle was saying, or someone I forget, maybe not Harsha, someone else was like, "Oh, both Mumbai and Chennai are doing bad. This is I feel bad for the fans." And it's like, no, that means the IPL is healthy. If the two
Absolutely, yeah.
most successful franchises are doing bad, that's a good thing. And I used to be a big Mumbai Indian supporter before Gujarat came. I like Mumbai and Rajasthan, but I hope that Mumbai and Chennai don't win the IPL for another 3 or 4 years. Not for anything else, because there has to be newer winners. If you just have what Mumbai did with the Ranji Trophy, people will stop watching the Ranji Trophy, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why all these people whining ki, oh 10 teams hai, players will get divided. No, you are whining because now the odds of one team winning the IPL are less, so Mumbai and Chennai cannot sit on like these brilliant players as their backups or something like that. They'll have to spend, so they have to have a solid 11 and 4 good backups, not 11 good backups. So that is what was happening, right, with Mumbai and Chennai. They had a brilliant 10 to 11. Now these other teams are like, why would we sit in Mumbai and Chennai backups when we get to actually, we have 2 extra teams that's why you had someone like Josh Little from Ireland today. Right now as we were recording, there is an IPL auction going on. Josh Little was picked up by Gujarat Titans for 50 lakhs. I guarantee you in an 8 team IPL, no Ireland player would have been picked up except maybe Kevin O'Brien. So and I personally think IPL should be expanded to like 30 teams or 32 teams, like how the big leagues in the world are, like NFL and stuff like that. And you should have it like that. But you should, like I've said this on my friend Kushal Mehra's podcast and stuff, that ultimately cricket is going to a point where there will be a window for Test cricket, a window for ODI cricket, and T20 cricket is going to be played throughout the year. And that is what ICC should do to preserve the sanctity of the game. There should be a 6-month window for Test cricket. Maybe you do it from November to February and June to August, or July to September, because in England and Australia are two of the places where Test cricket is watched the most, so they have to get the preference over India. Sadly, India is unable to pull crowds in. I'm hoping to see that to change against Australia, but if you still have 5,000 people in the stadium, that's a bit of a shame for Test cricket. So that is except for a few cities, say Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, Ahmedabad. There are a few cities where peak crowds do come in to watch the Test match cricket. But that's me. Mohal, what do you think for the sport? Anything about the Football World Cup, cricket, and then we'll wrap up after that.
Yeah, I think in the IPL, I mean, you mentioned the expansion of IPL, which looks good on paper, but the thing is, like, all these Indian players keep breaking down, so there has to be like a rotation or also like separate teams for the formats. I mean, if players keep playing all the three formats, see, in like 15 years ago when we had no IPL, players used to rest for a couple of months in the summer, and we didn't have this rash of injuries. Now, like, we have practically like 4 or 5 top players
No,
not
I I,
playing right
I
now.
I don't buy that. Boss Pat Cummins plays the entire IPL. Ben Stokes used to play the entire IPL. Why do only Indian players get injured? There are international players who played the entire IPL and don't get injured.
But I don't know. Then something has. I think it still has to do with, like, I think playing three formats. I mean, but Cummins sometimes he doesn't play 2020s all the time, right? Does he play like every single match like the
Not
Indian
every
players?
single, but neither do the Indian players. I'm saying breaking down is total, but the Cummins plays every single test match. The problem with Bumrah is Bumrah doesn't play every single test match. He plays the
I,
IPL, he plays some one day, and Cummins has never missed a World Cup.
I mean, the thing with Bumrah is with two stress fractures. I think you have to retire him from one of the three formats. I mean, you have to pick and choose like which format. Like,
No, I have told this. BCCI has enough money to pay the money he gets from the
yeah,
IPL to just sit home.
yeah,
Pay
true,
him 17 crores to sit home for those 2 months in the IPL, और फिर
yeah.
उसको international में करो. If the whole motive is economics, why pay him? Like pay the only problem is the one man who owns the key to that. He's probably richer than BCCI. He can pay BCCI 3 times the amount to keep away from Bumrah to make sure that
Yeah, I
Mumbai
mean, the
Indians
sponsors
wins.
won't be happy that if all the marquee players
I
are
know,
sitting out.
but
So,
what is the point of being the richest board in the world if you cannot ensure a World Cup for your team in
yeah,
regular
you
times,
just care
right?
about gaining more money. I mean, they
And
don't care about
I
the
guarantee you,
aspect.
even though the next World Cup is in India, we are not favorites to win it, right?
Yeah,
England, and I want to come to the T20 World Cup now. What a team England is, man! What a team! They're
they have
wide,
mastered the white ball format basically.
not just white ball, boss. In my opinion, they're the best team in the world right now across all formats.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how they're doing spinning tracks in India. But yeah, they are the best team.
No, I'm telling you right now, because the reason I'm saying that they are right now in Pakistan, it was spinning, and they did very well in Pakistan, right? And India, quite frankly, does not play spin very well. The reason why England lost the way they did in India 4 years or 2 years ago, or last year, I forget when it was, last year maybe, was because Joe Root was a bad captain, sadly. Like he Ben Stokes has that courage to go with two spinners, even on a even which including Rehan Ahmed, who was playing his first test match. I guarantee you, on that Ahmedabad wicket, if England had two spinners and not four fast bowlers, was India would have been in a bit of trouble.
No, but see, the thing is also the quality of spin bowling they are facing is also not that. I mean, they are like they are two debutants basically in Pakistan. So
So, well, India also has great quality of spin bowling. We have Ashwin, and then we have Jaydev Unadkat in this test match, because we also seem to be dropping our good spinners. Kuldeep Yadav has been dropped for Jaydev
yeah, I mean,
Unadkat.
I want to. I mean, England will score a lot of runs, but like I guess Ashwin, Jadeja, and Kuldeep, it will be interesting to see how they do. I think they don't tour till for 2, 3 or more years. So let's see if baseball continues for 2, 3 more years. You know.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I think man to man, I think India might still be a more powerful team. But I think I honestly like the way England carries their
yeah.
confidence around the world,
Yeah.
uh, especially how they don't mind touring the subcontinent. If they go to Australia now, I would love to
Man,
get a
Yeah, the
ground
Kishore.
Ashes.
and watch their
Oh no, next year's Ashes is going to be amazing. 2023
absolutely
Ashes in England, and I don't even know, man. James Anderson could still be playing at 41. That man
what
is
you
so
want.
fit.
Yeah,
He's
700 wickets, right? He could
he's
reach
a
there.
medical marvel. Like, did you see that ball that he bowled to Mohammad Rizwan in Pakistan? Like, there was a ball that reverse swung, and he cleaned the top of off stump, and it was
But
as good as that ball to Rahane in India.
yeah, like I mean, exactly like that one test match that we lost against England, it was all James Anderson. I mean, so coming back to James Anderson, like I think in 2012, when they asked Dhoni, like, what was the difference in the seat? I mean, there was Kevin Peterson's batting and Monty Panesar and Graham Swan's bowling, But I think what Dhoni said, like the difference was James Anderson between the two teams. The reverse swung he got, and he got out the Indian batsman in 2012. That's the one series we lost in like the last 22 years, right? I
Yeah.
mean, 20, sorry,
And
not 2004, so 18 years. Sorry.
yeah, 18 years. No, absolutely. So it's a fascinating time. But moving to the last part of our discussion, which is entertainment. And we'll end the discussion with Karnataka 2023. That'll be the last thing. Big year for Indian cinema, also regional cinema. KGF and all, they're doing good. RRR is doing well. Some
And
Gujarati films
RRR has
doing
an
well.
Oscar nomination.
Marathi. हाँ वो तो I don't know यार. It's going to win. It's not a nomination. It's a short
No,
list right now.
yeah, it's a short list. Sorry, but let's say
हाँ
if it wins a nomination, then they have to perform the song on stage,
हाँ,
right?
but boss, so is Chillo Show. That is also nominated. And that is why all
Yeah.
the discussion has disappeared, because I personally enjoyed watching RRR, but just because Netflix is promoting, I don't think it was a legitimate reason to send India's official entry to the Oscars. So all the whole thing that it's not going to be nominated, they nominated the one Indian film, the other Indian film that was sent. So I don't know, right? But we'll see if Pan Nalin actually gets shortlisted in the first 5 films, then it would be huge for Gujarati cinema. That not a regional cinema gets there. But I want you to the impact that movie like Kantara had. Like I'll tell you, Kishore, right? I myself, after watching that, I searched the Devakola on YouTube and stuff, and there are videos from 7-8 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that have millions of views because people have watched it after they watched the film, right? So how much are in rediscovering regional cinema are we? So I didn't know its existence till I watched the movie. Because no one told me.
Yeah.
You are my guide into Karnataka, so I'm going to blame you, Kishore, on this. But that's what I'm saying, right? So how important is regional cinema?
Oh, totally. I mean, for every Indian who lives outside India, you are bombarded with questions like, "Hey, I love Indian cuisine. I love Indian food." And if you
Yeah,
ask them what did you eat, they would obviously say naan and butter chicken, right? So
yeah,
that was their understanding of Indian cuisine, and it's only now that people around the world are realizing, discovering that there is far more than simple Punjabi cuisine, and there are far more flavors, far more cuisines, and which comprises the entire Indian cuisine. Similarly, very similarly, earlier it was all Bollywood and nothing more. Now it's the other regional industries which are actually kind of doing much better than Bollywood. And while they are doing that, even the top stars in every industry, they are letting the script, letting the story take the limelight rather than have the focus light on themselves. So I think
mm,
it's what we see right now is that kind of a situation where more focus is on screenplay, more focus is on story, and that is where regional cinema is scoring big.
correct. Correct. So, but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Mohal. What do you think? What does this bode for other Indian regional cinemas?
I think it's good. I mean, even if you think about Gujarati cinema, we didn't have a lot coming before the like a 10, 50, 15 years ago. So it's a good like that we have moved past from just the Bollywood centricism of like cinema in India. I mean, and also like as you see like RRR or KGF and we had Bahubali earlier. So a lot of the uh, cinema. I mean, there's a lot of this. I know this boycott thing is like very popular in like social media circles, but I think it just shows the content of the cinema more than the boycott. I think boycotts do affect to a certain extent, but what how a movie doesn't depend on whether the movie director or the actor's political ideology. It has to more do with the script. I mean, if you made bad script, movie is going to bomb. And I think the southern cinema and the regional cinema has captured like what the people want nowadays
No, but
versus
I'll tell you, Mohal, and I'm not pointing particular. I don't think a bad script necessarily ensures it fails. I've seen a lot of bad scripts also succeeding, and a
yeah,
lot
I
of good
mean, true.
scripts working. But I think the issue is like the Hindi commercial cinema also refuses to go beyond what is what is formulaic for them. So Rohit Shetty has come out with this movie today, which they people are calling his worst film and Ranveer Singh's worst performance, right? Because they're saying वो same ही चीज करता है जो 14 साल पहले करता था, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That he still has 4 actors doing this golmaal in every movie, and I'm like, what is this, right? Like, go beyond that, man. And and that's the unfortunate. And people on these music talent shows talk about these films like as if like they are some work of art. Like, I'm like,
Mm.
for God's sake, don't forget. Half the people don't know Golmaal, the original one, 2007, not the 1979, which was a superior movie. The 2007 one was actually based on a Gujarati drama called Aflatun. So it was not even like Rohit Shetty sat and wrote that script originally. It was a Gujarati drama that was written. So even that, my point is, was inspired by a regional drama, by a regional play. So regional cinema already had the talent, but I think a lot of people were not even talking about it openly. Like, very few people, like someone like a Yash Chopra, who says that his legendary movie Ittifaq that he made was actually because he saw Praveen Joshi's Gujarati play Dhummas, and he got so inspired, he went, talked to him after the stage, and made this movie. So there are some. So I think the older directors, the reason why they worked is they acknowledged the part that Indian culture played in this and incorporated within. Then you had the post 2007-8 where we were trying to incorporate West. So you have Vishal and Shekhar starting in randomly in some Hindi songs, they will start singing English songs like they are some rock stars based in America, right? Because they're trying to emulate that whole pit. I don't blame them, those things. And a lot of Indians don't connect with that. Like, हमें अंग्रेजी म्यूजिक देखना है तो we'll watch English music, we'll listen to English music. Why are you trying to pander, right? So then comes this whole new phase of regional cinema, which actually takes you back to your roots, takes you back to your culture, and I think that's what hit the people. That is my take, understanding it is why.
And OTT has a great
Massive role.
role in that. And even for a movie like Drishyam, right, the
Oh,
Malayalam
fantastic.
movie
Yeah.
Drishyam 1 and 2, people had already seen, people from all over the country, they had already seen both the parts in
Yeah.
Malayalam, in the original language. And by the time the Hindi remake was out in the theaters, there was an obvious comparison being done. I mean,
No,
10
and it
years
doesn't.
ago,
And in some. Oh, sorry. You finish your point. Yeah, what you were saying.
sorry, yeah. So 10 years ago, people obviously wouldn't even know that Drishyam was a remake. I mean, how many people know that Tere Naam was actually a remake, right? People
Yeah.
hardly know that it was a
Yeah.
remake. So A, you wouldn't even know that it was a remake. B, even if it was a remake, people wouldn't have watched the original. So
Yeah.
there is no way that you would compare it with the original. So now with the advent of OTT, I think Bollywood has a far more bigger challenge than what they acknowledge.
Correct.
Adit.
Absolutely. No. And I'll tell you, I watched 4 films on OTT, Hindi films on OTT in the last 4 weeks. I enjoyed all of them. They were brilliant. Okay, I saw this movie with Kumud Mishra called Nazar Andaz, which is such a beautiful movie where he plays a blind man, and they go to Kutch, and where he meets his ex-lover, and they've written her dialogues in Kutchi, in Gujarat, right? Not in Gujarati, in Kutchi. It's such a beautiful touch. It's so well written. I talked to my Kutchi friend, and she's like, yes, I found one small flaw here and there, but my point is, 10 years ago, if this was made, they would be speaking in Hindi accented Gujarati. Hey, bhai, aap tame ghar mein kya hai? Like that, which no one actually talks like this in there, right? But no, so that evolution has happened, right? So that and I still I always joke with my Punjabi friends that now Punjabi screenwriters are going to Gujarat and writing about characters in Gujarat, not just sitting in Delhi and saying hall ka hall karte और hall ka hall karte और मजा आएगा. ये बहुत हंसेंगे लोग इस पे ऊपर. So
And
that is
that typecasting and stereotyping was there
yeah.
pan India. I mean, how many Bollywood movies have you seen where the story moves to the south, and the only thing that they do is ayya or ayyayo, and that's South India for them, right? So
Exactly.
that was an absolute shallow way of portraying South India or whatever story they wanted to. I think from there to what we see right now, I think Bollywood has already made those 2-3 steps. They've come forward, but lot more needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Mohal, your closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think as I said, like OTT has made a huge difference. I think the script writers need to just move on to like topics which catch the viewers' imagination, and they can't just keep blaming that, oh, boycott kar de isliye fail ho gaya, ye ho gaya. Like they just need to evolve with the times and keep up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think that pretty much wraps up this part of the discussion. Before we finish, Kishore, a view on Karnataka 2023, and we'll wrap up with your recommendation.
Again, chess analogy. Again, all three parties are still making their initial moves. Too early
Mm,
right now, but if elections are held today, it will still be a
mm,
hung assembly, possibly a repeat of 2018. No BSY that might hurt BJP. Infighting within Congress. DK Shivkumar badly wants to become the chief minister. Sidramaya badly wants to become the chief minister just
mm.
once more. And the cat in the bag, H.D. Kumaraswamy, always wants to be the chief minister. So,
So who doesn't want to be the chief minister then? I mean, you have so many claimants to the post.
and we
Uh,
have only one kursi, yeah.
maybe Shobhaji doesn't want to be the CM. She is happy being an MP.
Oh yeah, there are many people like her, but
Uh,
yeah, I mean, Shobha's limelight is well in the past.
well, in the past.
Not a force to reckon
Yeah.
with
No,
in
because
the state
earlier she
anymore.
was being talked about as a compromise candidate, right? But I think with Bommai coming, but I highly doubt if Basavaraj Bommai is going to be retained as the CM if BJP wins the election. That is my perspective, at least.
Yeah, it all depends on how the Lingayats vote. If the Lingayats vote overwhelmingly for BJP and BJP comes to power, then possibly keep Basavaraj Bommai for a year or so, or maybe replace him with another Lingayat chief minister, Basavaraj Bommai himself being a Lingayat. So
Hmm.
that might be the compromise. But not
Got it.
everybody speaks highly of Bommai right now.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, no, I think that pretty much wraps up. Mohal, any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
I think like Karnataka, if you speak to everybody, like everybody thinks a hung assembly, and I think the JDS, unless it completely collapses, I think we are stuck with a hung assembly again.
Yeah, exactly. So that's sadly the situation, but whatever it may be, we'll be on Mindmakers ready to talk about this. I really appreciate Kishore and Mohal both joining me on this podcast. It's been a mammoth long podcast, but we probably didn't even cover half of what we thought we would cover, but the year end podcasts are like that. Maybe we'll have another one very soon. Till then, thank you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, follow them, follow their channel. India Rising. Follow them on Twitter. Share this on Facebook and Twitter, and YouTube as well. And please send us your feedback. Till then, it's goodbye, and we'll see you next year in a week from now. Till then, it's good night. Goodbye.